The Iowa Spirit on 8.
It's 6 o'clock. And now live from Iowa's leading news station, Paul Rose, Kevin Cooney, Connie McBurney with weather, and Pete Taylor sports. This is TV-8 News, live at 6.
Good evening. Residents of Story City are abuzz today with the news that their town is one of 2 finalists in a big economic development race. An effort to land 300 jobs, a huge payroll, and an obvious boost to the community. The news came as TV-8 was on the road in Story City. Kevin Cooney there, live via satellite with the latest developments. Kevin?
Paul, what could be one of the biggest boosts to Story City is currently being considered by what officials here call an unnamed manufacturing company. Word of Story City's consideration has been filtering out just the past couple of days, so these developments are all very recent. But Story City officials here aren't just sitting back and waiting for a decision. They're working hard right now to convince this mystery manufacturer and hundreds of potential job applicants that Story City is the place to be.
The old Butler Building manufacturing plant on the west side of Story City stands vacant now, except for a few million bushels of corn stored inside. But the 30 acres just north of the plant could be the home of a new manufacturing plant, employing 300 persons at $6.50 to $8 an hour. City officials won't name the company, but they say Story City and a location in Missouri are the company's final choices, and they hope to know in about 2 weeks whether they won the jobs. The company is concerned, though, whether the area can deliver the 1,200 employment applications the company would like to screen. So the city is beating the drums, placing ads in 14 area newspapers and taking applications next week.
I think the community is generally very excited, very hopeful, because, of course, the economic effect, not just on Story City, but this region, by this number of jobs would be very significant.
Story City has other things going for it, too, like this new industrial park under development just south of town. Dave Brayland employs 45 people, scattered in several buildings now, and he's looking forward to moving to the industrial park.
It's going to bring jobs to this kind of a town, and it's very important to this kind of a town to have jobs because the ag economy just isn't bringing in what it used to.
And there are other developments here in Story City. There's a big truck plaza that's being developed, almost ready to start construction out near Interstate 35. McDonald's is the company behind that project. It will include the traditional Golden Arches restaurant and more, including a fuel stop and the like. Construction on that project is expected to start within a month in mid-May. So the news in Story City, Paul and Dave, is very good. It is optimistic, and it is not over yet. There's still a lot of work being done here in the next couple of weeks to convince that unnamed company to come here to Story City.
Okay, Kevin, and you'll be back a little bit later in the news tonight with another report from Story City.
You bet.
Thank you. Some more good job news tonight. Unemployment dropped in Iowa last month thanks to good weather that allowed hiring in construction, recreation, and farm supply industries. Iowa's unemployment rate for March was 5.7%. That's down from 6.6% in February and a 7.3% jobless rate in March of last year. A prominent businessman, former state legislator, and developer of Sun Valley Lake in southern Iowa is embroiled in a bitter dispute with residents in the nearby town of Elston. Quentin Anderson, who served 10 years on Capitol Hill, is on notice that his properties are dangerous and pose health hazards. TV-8's Kent Peterson reports the town's beautification push has neighbor pitted against neighbor.
You got quite a lot of stuff around here. You have music for a long time.
Sure, I got a lot of stuff, and a lot of people can't stand that. You know it?
It doesn't bother me that bit.
No, I know.
If it was on your land out in the country.
This is my land.
Elston City Councilman Raymond O'Grady says Quentin Anderson is the most well-known violator of Elston's junk ordinance. Anderson owns 12 properties in town, and city council members say he uses several as a dumping ground for rusty vehicles and debris. The two butted heads again today when Anderson learned city council members were talking with the media.
The town doesn't have to be a dumping ground.
There's over $300,000 worth of building materials and construction equipment here. I don't feel it's near a health problem that their open sewers are.
Up until this month, Quentin Anderson owned Sun Valley Lake, a large recreational area. A New York company purchased the resort, and townspeople say Anderson cleaned up the lake and dumped even more junk into nearby Elston. Mayor Gene Reed's campaign promise was to clean up the town, and he says Anderson has been cluttering up the town for years.
I can't believe a person doing that to a town.
The city took action and gave Anderson 15 days to comply with the town's junk ordinance, but he refuses. Anderson says other properties are littered with junk too, and criticizes city council members for taking office and holding meetings illegally.
Didn't intend to single one person out.
Today, Quentin Anderson offered to donate this old school building to the city, where many of his items are stored. and promises to clean up his rusty vehicles and weed-infested lots as soon as other Elston residents take an interest in their properties too.
And when they do theirs, you better believe we'll have ours done.
I'll be counting on that.
Kent Peterson, TV-8 News.
A special city council meeting is scheduled Monday night to consider a tougher junk ordinance in Elston and hear what the new owners of Sun Valley Lake intend to do about the area's cluttered appearance.
The long, drawn-out battle over custody of the 5 Cooper children was back in court today, this time the state trying to terminate the parental rights of the 3 fathers involved. The Iowa Supreme Court had earlier terminated the mother's rights. The 5 children were taken from their foster home in Kellogg amid nationwide publicity about their plight. They're now living in a foster home in Cedar Rapids. Today, the father of the 3 oldest children, Dennis Cooper of Newton, said he would like custody of his 3 children, but even more wants all 5 of the children to stay together.
Well, I want to see the kids happy, and they have to stay together to be happy. And basically, I think this is what this is all about, is keeping the 5 children together. And with 3 different fathers, that's going to be rough.
The 2 other fathers, Charles Harvey and Fred Walker, did not appear in court today. There will be another meeting later on whether the father's rights will be terminated.
Now a follow-up on the news. It has been a year and a half since his parents were shot to death in their South Side home, and today 18-year-old Charlie Little was in court again as attorneys haggled over legal issues before his trials even held. Little is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in his own parents' death. He stayed in a juvenile facility until his 18th birthday. He's been in the Polk County Jail since then. Today's hearing once again concerned Little's constitutional rights on the night of the murder in '86. His lawyer wants to keep out of the trial gunpowder tests and clothing taken from Little. The Iowa Supreme Court already has thrown out statements Little made the night of the murder.
And coming up next, a special report on how farm fertilizers affect our drinking water. Mike Day talks with one farmer who's changed the way he farms.
And we'll go back live to Kevin Cooney, who's on the road in Story City.
Concern over groundwater contamination is keeping farmers and scientists busy as they try to keep our drinking water free of farm chemicals. Tonight, in part 2 of his special report, Farm Chemicals, a Growing Concern, Mike Day tells us how one farmer is changing the way he does business.
The water in this Clayton County creek may be on its way to someone's kitchen faucet, and it may be carrying dangerous levels of pesticides, fertilizers, or other farm chemicals. Recent tests of drinking water wells in this area found nearly 75% contained at least some chemical residue. Those were private wells. A study of public water supplies statewide found 14% had detectable traces of pesticides. The State Hygienic Lab in Coralville is now receiving 200 to 300 water samples a day. Dwayne Moon has seen both ends of the groundwater issue. He uses chemicals to farm, but he also has a well full of water that is not safe to drink.
We had a renter there, and she got pregnant and sent out a sample of the water and was unfit to drink. Too much nitrogen in it.
In hopes of cleaning up area water supplies, Dwayne Moon has changed the way he farms. He uses less nitrogen fertilizer, and he's built land terraces to help hold soil and nutrients so they won't be washed away.
There's some that, first off, thought that this was, something that shouldn't be done, and then now you talk to them and they're more concerned about it than they were before.
Moon is also cooperating with researchers who built a water monitoring system on his farm. We'll have more on what some have called farming under a microscope tomorrow night. Mike Day, TV-8 News.
And tomorrow night we'll see how research on that Clayton County farm could be used by city residents.
Earlier tonight we heard from Kevin Cooney in Story City, and now we have more as our On the Road series continues. Tonight, Kevin takes a look at some of the historical highlights of Story City. And apparently is Kevin there? We have lost our satellite link, so Connie, if we can get you over here, we will. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here, and we'll be back with Connie and the weather, and we'll hear from Kevin in just a moment. As you can see, we've reestablished our satellite link with Kevin Cooney in Story City. What happened to you?
We disappeared. I think it was because, Dave, there were so many people on the carousel. There are about 200 people here. We probably overloaded all the circuits, or they did, putting some stress on the motor. We are in front of the historic Story City Carousel, constructed 75 years ago and located in Story City for 50 years. So as you can see, there are a couple of anniversaries, 2 anniversaries, the 50th and 75th being marked here. The Story City Carousel is almost as enjoyable as the smiles that are on the faces of those who ride it. The most recent history involves restoration. A $140,000 fundraising, restoration, and building campaign that started back in 1980. Within about 2 years, the carousel had been restored to its full 1913 beauty, now housed here in a beautiful building, so everyone can enjoy it in just about any kind of weather. And ever since, this has really been one of the, if not the social centers, all during the year and during any sorts of weather here in Story City. With me is Karen Hermanson, and Karen, a lot of folks obviously are going to see this, and they're going to wonder when they can come and see the carousel. Can you fill us in?
Thank you. We open for the season May 27th, Memorial Day weekend, and we have operating hours through Labor Day weekend.
Okay, and we want to point out this was just kind of a special thing that you were very kind to do for us as we came up here.
Anytime TV-8 comes to town, it's a very special day.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. We appreciate you filling us in on the hours, and of course, if they would like to write to the folks up here at the Greater Community Congress in Story City, I'm sure you'd be more than happy to send them a schedule, right?
We'd love to have them all come up. Please write the chamber for the exact hours.
Okay, we've got just a very little time. There's another major event that we want to talk about here. The carousel is located in one of the most beautiful parks that I've had the opportunity to see in Iowa. It's North Park. We're going to be taking a little look at it later on during the weather. But it's also the center of attention for Scandinavian Days. And we have some folks here who are appropriately dressed. You've got to have some Scandinavian heritage, at least in your head, if not in your blood, to at least come to Story City. And I'm going to ask Alice Miller over here, because she's got the food, to tell me what goes on at Scandinavian Days.
We'll have lots and lots of good food, lots of entertainment for everybody, and we have our wonderful parade then on Saturday.
All right, and there's lots going on. I know there's a rock and roll concert, and there's plenty of good food, and that's our cue to throw it back to you guys in the studio, because we're going to be busy here for a few minutes.
Okay, and tonight at 10, we have another renovation project up there in Story City, the theater. Okay.
That's right, the theater, a beautiful one it is.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin.
Hey, Connie, I like your friend from the zoo a lot better tonight than the armadillo. What is it?
He's nice, isn't he? This is a French alpine goat.
I knew that.
He's only 2 weeks old, and he's a triplet. He has a brother and a sister. They're all going to be part of the contact area when the zoo opens Saturday. Remember, it's open from Tuesday through Sunday, and it opens this Saturday. This is a cute guy, isn't he? And the weather isn't going to get your goat. In fact, right now, here, Paul, hold my goat a minute, will you? It's 67 degrees, and we're headed for what's beginning to look like a very nice evening around here. Record high for this date, 91, as you see. Record low, 30, and 1 year ago it was 78. So we're a long, long way away from any of the records. Take one more look at the carousel. Hi yourself. Pretty nice evening out there. As you see, they're wearing short sleeves, which means you may have to be a little bit tough to handle the weather, because 67 degrees, we've dropped a little bit. Winds are from the west at 13 miles an hour, 19% humidity, so we've taken another big plunge in the humidity level. Barometer, for the time being, it's steady at 30.10, but the big factor here was the sunshine, and as you see, it's still sunny outside much of this afternoon. In fact, we had a very nice blue sky. Temperatures made it up to the 60s all the way across the state, 69 here in Des Moines, and what's coming our way is going to be even more pleasant. This low-pressure center that brought the heavy snow to southern Minnesota and Wisconsin is slowly beginning to wind down. Snow showers out there, and a few coming ashore in the Pacific right along the Cascades as all of this moisture begins to move up into the higher elevations. No big weather systems in our neighborhood, just the well-established high-pressure air mass. This low is coming in right ahead of an approaching cold front. I mentioned snow showers out there and widespread, but so far fairly light rain. This could figure in our forecast, though, as the high passes us by. We'll see a return to a southerly airflow, higher humidity levels, and that means we will see a slightly increasing chance of showers. Here's how temperatures look today. You can see the cold weather in the east. Heading west, nice warming trend, and that's what's going to be coming our way. So tonight, the weather beacon is on red. Clear skies, lows mid-30s to mid-40s, and by tomorrow, sunshine. Winds eventually becoming southeasterly, and highs tomorrow mostly in the 70s. Nice range of 70s at that. For central Iowa, we'll see mostly clear skies tonight, lows in the low to mid-40s, and a northwesterly wind near 12. By tomorrow, we should see very pleasant temperature range, mid-70s here in central Iowa, sunshine and a southeasterly wind. Friday night, lows in the low to mid to upper 40s make that, and partly sunny Saturday, highs in the lower 70s. Extended outlook calls for a chance of rain and possibly a thunder shower, but that doesn't appear until about Monday or Tuesday. Lows in the 50s, highs in the 70s to lower 80s, which is about what everybody wanted if we had just had the rain. At least there is a chance for it later on this week. 67 degrees right now.
I see a contest coming on, Connie. Name the goat.
We thought Francois would be nice since he's French.
All right, how about name that armadillo?
Oh, pass.
Pete Taylor will have a live sports report on the Drake Relays when TV-8 News continues.
Well, great weather for the Drake Relays, huh, Pete?
Absolutely perfect out here right now. It's too bad the events aren't being run today, but I understand from Connie's forecast, might be even better tomorrow and Saturday. We'll talk about the relays and have a guest here in just a moment, but first of all, we have to go to Major League Baseball, where the Baltimore Orioles set another record today and are hot on the heels of another mark. Minnesota beat the Orioles 4-2 this afternoon, sending Baltimore to its 21st straight defeat, which is an American League record for consecutive losses. The Major League record is 23, set by the Phillies in 1961. Orioles have had some strange things happen during the streak. Here's another occurrence. Kent Herbeck's pop-up to short right field, apparently lost in the background by two Baltimore players. The ball drops right between them for a double. A little later on, it's the red-hot Herbeck giving the Twins a 2-1 lead with his fourth homer of the season, all of which have come in the last 3 games. John Moses added a 2-run double. The Twins went on to beat the Orioles 4-2. Next game for Baltimore tomorrow night in Chicago. In the National League this afternoon, 2 games in progress. St. Louis leading San Diego now 6-4 in the 9th inning. And in the 10th, it's Pittsburgh over San Francisco by a 2-1 score. The Iowa Cubs are home again tonight. They'll be out at Sec Taylor Stadium to face Oklahoma City to open a series out there. Game time is 7 o'clock. Well, as I mentioned, the Drake Relays will be starting in earnest tomorrow, and all these stands will be full of people watching what's going on. One of the competitors is right here with me now, Kevin Little from Ankeny, Iowa. Kevin, just coming off a very strong performance down at the Kansas Relays. Tell us a bit about what happened to you down there, Kevin.
I think we ran really well in our sprint relays. We set a school record in the 4x2 to build our confidence for this weekend. Winning the 100 really got my confidence built. I'll come into this 200 more ready to run up to the competition. I'm not going to really worry about how I'll do. I think I can hang with them. I'm capable of running well.
You're on the outside there against some pretty formidable opposition a year ago. That's heard from Texas A&M winning. Calvin Smith was in that group. Chidi Amoy from Missouri. Is it going to be that kind of a field again this year in the 200 invitation?
Yeah, I think the competition will be just as good, if not better. I'm not sure who's in it yet. I think I'm getting excited for that. I'll worry about that Saturday morning, and hopefully I'll be across the tape first.
Okay, you had a personal record last week, 20.79 in 200, with a field like they're expecting here in the race on Saturday. Do you think you can even better that?
I think I can. Depends on the weather conditions. If I go into this race relaxed, I think I'll run like I did last week, because that's how I went in last week, and I felt really good.
Okay, Kevin, best of luck to you, and enjoy yourself at the relays.
Thank you.
Kevin Little, who was prep star at Ankeny and ran here many times and won a title here while at Ankeny. As a matter of fact, there was some activity out at the Drake Relays today. There were 2 final events. Patty Murray was victorious in the 10,000-meter run for women. She's a former Western Illinois runner, and the winner of the men's 10,000 was Dave Holly of Illinois. And the NBA playoffs start tonight. 2 games in the East and 2 games in the West. Of course, we'll have all the results at 10 o'clock. And a reminder that tomorrow, Bob Earhart, Relays Director, will be with us to check the highlights of the first day of the Drake Relays.
Okay, thank you, Pete. It's been a riches to rags week for Sir Muggsy, the bulldog that was crowned on Monday as winner of the Drake Bulldog Beauty Contest. Tonight, Muggsy cooling his heels in the City Animal Pound after an accident at a Drake function last night. City Animal Control officers said Muggsy was having his picture taken with some people when he accidentally butted a woman's head, his tooth cut her nose. They say even though it's an accident, a city ordinance requires them to quarantine any dog that bites a person above the shoulders.
Another new hotel will be built in West Des Moines. The Residence Inn will be built near the West Mixmaster. It'll have 112 suites featuring living rooms, fireplaces, kitchens, and bedrooms. The $6.5 million project is planned by RHW Companies of Overland Park, Kansas. And we'll be back right after this.
Stock market lower in very light trading today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 6 points, average share down 13 cents, only 128 million shares traded. New York gold today was down $1.70 an ounce, silver down 3 cents. Here in Iowa, the cattle market steady, hogs steady to 50 cents lower. The elevators corn was mixed and soybeans steady to 3 cents higher. Honey?
Lows tonight in the 40s with clear skies. By tomorrow, highs near 75 in central Iowa with sunshine. Right now, 67 degrees.
And coming up tonight at 10, we'll have another live on-the-road satellite report from Kevin Cooney in Story City.
But that's our news at 6. Thank you for joining us, and now stay tuned for the Iowa Lottery's $1 Million Wheel.